I can't believe I'm wasting my night like this. I seriously cannot believe that my night is going to be spent on YouTube. Is this some unaffiliated local?
Yeah, who is this guy?
Me? I'm just a guy who loves good hockey, something both of you are very unfamiliar with. God, it's going to be like watching two male manatees try to figure out how to scissor for 60 minutes.
Jesus, that's graphic.
Yeah, I thought this show was kid-friendly.
No.
Where have you been?
On one hand, I have this bloated carcass of a roster that's spent all the way to the cap but still manages to be incompetent at virtually every aspect of the game.
Now, is he talking about me or you?
No clue. Could be either one of us.
And on the other hand, a team that very well may set a modern NHL record for how shit they are in basically every circumstance.
Okay, I think that one's me. Honestly, I'm still thinking about the manatees. Why?
Honestly, Gary Bettman should do the right thing for the first time in his skeevy career and just fold both your franchises. Couple of losers. I'll see you at 7.
Oof, what a jerk, right?
I mean, technically he was correct about everything.
Yeah, pretty accurate.
Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins franchise. Bruins franchise of a high quality Bruins franchise. That is not a dub. Not a dub. I haven't said that is a dub in 4 weeks. Literally, it's been, close to that, right? Because it was well before the tournament. Let's see here. Let's just find out together live. By the way, while we're doing this, that opening bit isn't super fair, all things considered, because, well, that was actually a really great game. But I found it funny, so I kept the joke. I recorded that earlier today, and I was like, you know what? We're keeping it, whatever. Since the 4th of February is the last time I would have said that is a dub. It's the 27th. Yikes! Even with the 2 weeks off, still yikes. The Bruins have done us a favor in a weird way, and we're going to talk more about that at the end in the game notes, but they have done us a favor. Because about a week before the Four Nations tournament, we talked about how important the games coming up were. I think I was already, and many of us were already kind of like, I don't think this team has it, right? But there was also that little, well, if Lindholm's back after the Four Nations, and McAvoy's looked better since coming back from injury, and the squad is healthy, things slot into place, Swayman plays better. I don't know, this might not be a fun team to play against, sneak into the playoffs. Best case scenario, it's a battle of attrition every round, and who knows? Well, the Bruins have just absolutely squatted on top of any sort of hope there was with that, with 5 straight losses, which is actually kind of doing us a favor because we don't sit in speculation about the trade deadline anymore. That's been answered. Again, we'll probably talk about that a little bit. But we don't have to make believe in something that's just really not going to happen, right? The standings still show us within reach. We're 4 points back of a wild card spot with the other team, Columbus and the Detroit, both have a game in hand, I believe. So it's not like we're super distant out of the spot, and it does not look like 95 points is going to be necessary to make the playoffs in the wild card, but there are certain years like this where somewhere between 89 and 92 points gets you there. Even 89 points is still a little bit of you guys have to win a lot of games coming up. You have a long road trip coming up. This just, I don't want anyone to stress themselves out. This is entertainment, and I think it's okay to be optimistic, but to see the reality. Let's talk about this Islanders team, and it's just going to drive home the point of reality. Because the Islanders rank 32nd on the power play, not great. 31st on the penalty kill, not great. 27th in goals for per game, not great. 16th in goals allowed, that's middling. Take that. They have historically bad special teams, particularly the power play. They are average at best in net this season. I'm not saying in this game, but in this season. And one of the few forward groups, they have one of the few forward groups that on paper match the ineptitude of the Bruins. By design, the Bruins were supposed to be weak up front. They spent a bunch of money on defense and in net. Islanders get to basically say same, because on paper, that's not a very impressive forward group. I would actually argue they should have more depth than us when healthy, but this has not been a healthy year for them at all. Both of these teams were designed to win with defensive structure, elite goaltending, and opportunistic transition attacks. It has not worked out for either one of these teams. Sometimes I jump over to the opponent's Reddit page or some form of social media, depending on what Reddit is giving me. I know that oftentimes these social media platforms are very negative. You get, like, I won't go on Facebook for it anymore because Facebook does have some of the worst negativity I have ever seen when it comes to sports teams. It is asinine, some of the stuff that you will see. It is crazy. Anyway, but social media in general, pretty negative. But I do jump over to the Islanders Reddit before this one, and not only has this season just sucked for them injury-wise. They've had 1,000 injuries. They've had subpar performances from some big contract guys. But the general statement from their posts and their comments is it's not going to get better anytime soon. They're talking about pieces to sell off, but I feel like a large majority of these statements are more about an absolute reset, which again, reset is just an ugly, ugly word at this point, because you look at what teams have to go through for a real reset and the amount of years that it just sucks. I don't know. And look, I'm sure the front office for the Islanders who are not going to lean into a reset. It doesn't look like, at least. They just don't seem capable of doing that, which I get it. But I'm sure they're going to use the season as it is as a pretty heavy excuse and all of the injuries they had, which is somewhat of a fair excuse. But just like Bruins fans, they fear that no real changes will be made, no real improvements will be made, because they get to sit there and be like, well, the team got hurt a bunch. There's nothing we can do. When you sit there and go, the team wasn't good enough to start with. They weren't, right? They have to be one of the top 5 most injured teams, though. I really want to stress, as much as I'm dunking on the Islanders, their season has been completely derailed by how awful their medical staff is. I'm kidding. No, just really bad luck. A lot of injuries. And I hope they catch a break, because I don't know the last time Barzal has gone like 3 months without an injury. Maybe last year he had a pretty full season. I don't remember, but I do know that he's very frequently injured. All that being said, and they're battling their billion injuries, maybe their front office will start to lean into that reset more. But I really doubt it. I really doubt it. The team's really bad, and we just lost to them. And we've lost to a lot of bad teams lately. Gross. The Bruins. The lineups will be Geeky, Zaka, Pasternak, Marchand, Lindholm, Coyle, Tufte, Poitras, Brazeau, Kepke, Beecher, Kostelik, Zadorov, Carlo, Lohrei, Peak, Callahan, Wotherspoon, and then Swayman will be in net. Tufte is back because Frederick is out with a week-to-week lower body injury. We'll see how that impacts the deadline. Wahlstrom has been waived. Hallelujah! I genuinely wish the best for the man. I really, really do. Didn't seem like a bad guy or anything like that. But if I saw him in the lineup again, I would have cried. And no one wants that because I am an ugly crier. I'm a very ugly crier. So we needed to move on from that. Mac and Lindholm, of course, still injured. McAvoy hasn't been put on long-term injured reserve, but I expect that to happen relatively soon, closer to the deadline. There is some funny math with that I'm trying to figure out exactly how our deadline cap space works. I'm hoping to have those answers in the future, but we'll see where we go with that. Let's talk about this game, this devastating, this game. The first period was, I think the most damning thing about it is the first period, after the first 5 minutes, every Bruins fan who has religiously watched this team this season knew exactly how it was going to go. That's what sucks, is we know at this point. In a sport where you should never know, you should never truly know, we knew. 2:30 in, huge chance for the Isles, as the puck flies through some bodies, through the slot to McLean, who looks to have a mostly empty net, and Sway comes up with a huge save. Great job by Sway. 4:40 in. Brazeau just can't get his head right. He just can't, which is a bummer because this is the time to get your head right, man. He's carrying the puck down the right side on a 2-on-1 and just softly pushes the puck into the slot and away from everybody else. It's like he halfway through trying to pass, he decided that he wanted to shoot, and it just, there was like 6 of these for Brazeau tonight, too. He's been so perturbed by the universe around him. I don't even know how to put it. He just doesn't look right, man. Just doesn't look right. 8 minutes in. It's a 3-on-1 for Boston. Pasta on the right side says, I ain't passing to these scrubs. That's not happening. Let me shoot low blocker, and Geeky can get that rebound. Not only does Sorokin make a really nice save here, but it's a great rebound control save where he makes sure this gets at an angle towards the wall where Geeky's not going to have a chance on it. Sorokin was brilliant in this game. I'm going to say a lot of things about this team through this game, but the overarching theme here is Sorokin did steal this one. He did steal this one, okay? So, very expensive goaltender. They're going to steal some. I'm still going to insult our team a bunch, unfortunately, but he did steal it. I remember when we were talking about Swayman starting to steal games. He did steal that one. I forget who it was against, but he did steal that one. I think that was the only one of the season, though. 8:35 in, Beecher sprung on a breakaway. This is right after the 3-on-1. Ends up losing the puck, losing an edge, and hurdles towards Sorokin, slams right into him. Everyone's okay. The Bruins get the power play for what I thought was a pretty soft slashing call. I don't think there was any penalty at all in this play. I think Beecher just kind of lost it. Yeah, there was some stick work at his legs and stuff, but no one, hacked him. I don't know. We're going to go to the power play. And it's a great power play. It's authentically an excellent power play. And Sorokin makes 3 separate massive saves during it. Just keeps the puck out. 11 minutes in. And the shots are 11-1 for the Bees. You can't tell me. You cannot tell me that you've watched this team all year and you did not know what was going to happen. That's the damning thing about this, is you knew what was going to happen. That's such a bummer. 5:55 left. Shots are 15-1 for the Bruins. 15-1. And Romanov is going to go to the box for interference. We get a power play. The shots are 15-1. And we knew what was going to happen. They kill it. At the end of the power play, Poitras' shot gets blocked. And Peugeot gets to collect it and break the 2-on-1 with Romanov coming out of the box. And Peugeot's going to get that pass up to Romanov, who's at the top of the left circle. He's going to take a couple strides in, and he's going to beat Swayman's short side. Just a great shot. High corner, blocker side. I know this is a great shot. Swayman, come on, man. Come on. Your team is busting ass, and yes, they can't seem to get one here, but dude, this is the second shot of the game against you. He's cold. I get it. Come up with that big save, man. Damn it. I want to defend goalies. Short side. It was a great shot. It really was. Damn, man. 1:12 left. Another 2-on-1 for the Bruins. This time Coyle carrying down the right side. He also decides to keep it, which I'm fine with. Get the puck to the net. He actually gets ahead of the whole group and has sort of a semi-breakaway. He attempts to go low blocker, and Sorokin again makes the save. Shots are 16-5 after 1, but the score is 1-0 Islanders. Doesn't feel great. Doesn't feel great. Second period starts. 4 minutes in. Zacha intercepts an awful pass by Tony DeAngelo. He gets a breakaway. A wide open breakaway. Wide open breakaway. And, I mean, this might have won. This was the save of the game that Nesson put up. But it was probably one of Sorokin's easiest saves. I mean, he just stayed in front of Zacha. Zacha didn't try any moves. Zacha tried high blocker and basically just hit him in the shoulder, chest area. That was it. Now, not taking anything away from Sorokin, the reason it was a save of the game is because 20 seconds later, they go right back down the ice, and this is a shot from the bottom of the left circle. This is no crazy cross-slot play or backdoor chance or anything like that. They literally have Nelson down the left side. He shoots from the bottom of the left circle, and Swayman kicks it out. right up the gut. And Lindholm is a couple steps behind. I forget who even gets it. Palmieri. Of course it's Palmieri. Elias Lindholm, not playing defense well because even though that's what he's known for, he has not been good at that this season. And Palmieri just gets slammed into the open net. And it's 2-0. That's why it was the save of the game, is because that was the game-winning goal. And you're still getting outshot by 1 billion, meaning the Islanders are. You had a breakaway. The Bruins did. Easy save, down the other way, goal against. It's 2-0. This team just finds a way to piss you off. That's the thing, is like, you're sitting there going, you guys are so unlikable. Because even when you look good, you don't look good. This is how bad this is with this team. 8:55 left. Beecher trips Horvat. We're going to the penalty kill. We kill it. And then with 1:36 left, Poitras gets checked into the door of the Islanders' bench. Unfortunately, the door had been opened. Now, I don't blame the goalie for opening this. Seeing how he kind of saw that play develop, he thought a change was about to happen. And it looks like, I think it was Nelson who directed Poitras into it. I don't think this was intentional by Nelson. I think this stuff happens fast. I didn't think he expected that door to get opened like that. I think his focus was on making some contact with Poitras. He would initially get called for a major. Poitras would go down the tunnel with help from 2 trainers. There is no update on him. He would not return to the game. It looks like he will be out for a while. Just add to the list of pain. They call it a major. They end up dropping it down to a minor for interference. Had that door not been opened, I don't think it would have been a call at all. I was glad to see them lower it, not as a Bruins fan, but as that doesn't make sense to call him for this. I do not think this was intentional. I know others might feel differently about this, but I have a hard time believing that too many guys would do this on purpose. That's going to injure anybody. I don't care how durable you are. You get sent into that corner like that, that's going to hurt bad. So we're going to move on, but without Poitras. We are going to have that power play. We don't do anything with it. God, why would we? And you know what? The third period starts, and Zadorov has a couple things to say to Nelson. And then the game goes on, and nothing happens. Now, look, do I believe we should have fought Nelson for this? Do I believe it was some dirty moment or whatever? Not really. But if you're going to jaw with him, like, this is going to sound dumb, but Zadorov, go take your position. Let Nelson take the face off, and as soon as he does, you shed him. I don't give a shit what Nelson does at this point. If you had decided to go after this guy, go after him. Shed the gloves, skate over to him, grab him by the collar, and if he doesn't fight you, you start throwing. See how long it takes him to actually fight you. Yes, you get a 5-minute major, game misconduct, who fucking knows? But honestly, I'm okay with it at this portion of the season. Like, Zadorov isn't a fake tough guy. He's a tough guy. But if you're going to make the choice to, like, shove him, give him a little cross-check, get in his face, fucking fight the guy. I don't care if he says no. You have the power to make that happen. Make it happen. This is a weird hill to die on. I don't know why this one's got me passionate, but I don't know. Like, it's weird that I'm flip-flopping on it because it doesn't matter to me that much that we went after Nelson because I don't believe it was egregious or on purpose or anything like that. But if you're going to skate over and act like you've got a problem with the guy, show him you've got a problem. Inspire the team a little. You're down 2 goals. Well, I don't want to put our team short-handed. Brother, it can't get much worse. Just do something. Do something. And he would have some big shifts with some big hits in this third period. He'd also absolutely leave the defense out to dry multiple times because he was going for those big hits. We'll get there. 3:18 in. Marchand is going to go for interference on Dobson. He's pissed off about it. We're going to the penalty kill. We kill it. And then with about 10 minutes left, Pastrnak turns the puck over in the offensive zone, but he quickly whips his head around and recovers, smacks that puck a little farther down that right wall. He's going to catch up to it, and as he's about to cross that goal line, zero degree angle, just whips this on net, and it somehow squeaks in. Not really sure how it gets in, but it gets in. So David Pastrnak is now at 16 games in a row with a point, which is just unbelievable given the circumstances. And it's his 800th point. All with the Boston Bruins, obviously. That's awesome. That's really cool. We're going to see this guy eclipse 1,000 points in the next couple of years. That's really, really cool. Greatness. Just greatness. 7:32 left. Oh, yeah, and we're only down by 1 now. But again, like, this is one of those things where you sit there and go, none of the fan base believes you guys are going to do this. I did. I'm gonna be honest. I believed that they were gonna do it, but I also figured that most people just didn't believe that they were gonna do it. 7:32 left with a perfectly executed 2-on-1 because Zadorov opted to go make a hit rather than stay in the defensive play. But the Islanders have a perfectly executed 2-on-1 to lead to a Fasching backdoor chance, and Swayman somehow gets the pad out. Somehow makes a stop and keeps it strong enough so the follow-up also stays out. An awesome save by Swayman. I did not love Swayman's performance in this one. I didn't. He did have a couple huge saves, though. A keep us in this game save, if you will. Are we getting $8 million worth of Swayman? We're not. But we'll talk about that in game notes. Actually, let's talk about game notes. It's a loss. It's a loss. It's our 5th loss in a row. The first game note should be about Swayman. Look, I know Swayman hasn't been what we wanted him to be this year, what we hoped he would be this season. And I still think that contract's going to work out. I'm not that worried about it, right? But I gotta say, man, he is just really bumming me out. He's really bumming me out with some of these performances. Some of them he gets completely unfair hate because it's more the defense's fault than his. But all through the middle of the season, we've been talking about, like, dude, you got to start stealing some of these games. Now, of course, at this point, who really cares if he steals them or not? But you just want to see your $8 million goaltender play like a Vezina candidate goaltender. And right now, he's a below-average goaltender. That's not great, and it doesn't bode well. I really do believe the contract's going to work out fine. It didn't this season, but I think it's going to be fine. He's not getting traded. That is something I want to address. I know a lot of people are like kind of clamoring for that. A lot's probably an exaggeration, but there is a section of the fan base. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Like I'm 94.2% certain it's not going to happen. And that's a pretty high percentage. That's pretty high. Other game notes. Poitras injury. That just takes away one of the few things that was fun to root for while watching this team. That's just such a friggin' bummer. That sucks. And I don't want to see any comments about him being soft because no one's getting up from that easily. I don't care how softly someone threw you into it. I mean, you know how hard. A lot of you guys have played hockey. You know how hard that is. That hurts. Pasternak's streak is incredible. It's absolutely mind-boggling, especially with how bad the team is around him. He won't get Hart consideration because the Bees won't make the playoffs, or likely won't make the playoffs, but he does deserve some real recognition. He really, really does. He also, I think I omitted this. I forgot to mention it. Right after he scored that goal, like 15 seconds later, a puck trickled through Swayman. Didn't trickle through. Bounced off the post, off Swayman's back, and then landed behind him. And Pasta made a diving play to keep that puck out of the net to block a attempted shot. The guy gives a shit. The guy wants to win. And I love seeing that from Pasta because sometimes people question his passion just because he is so aloof on the ice. But it was just nice to see. And then the last game note is very negative, but I mean, this should be put to rest now. If you were on that side of the camp that was, we can still go on this miracle run, we can get there. Obviously, the 95-point threshold isn't the goal anymore because the middle of the East is just, I mean, it's pretty ugly. But this team is losing to bad teams. And I understand we have injuries. I understand that. But, like, those guys aren't coming back. So it's just a moot point at this level. Like, it just doesn't matter that we have injuries. The team as currently constructed and is currently capable. It's losing to bad teams. We just lost Poitras on top of it. Most of this should be put to rest. The trade deadline is not even a cautious sell at this point. It's a sell. Like, we're selling the pieces that are not going to stick around, and we're going to see what assets we can gain back. We'll have to start diving into that very soon because, I mean, we're a week away. We're a week and a day away for the trade deadline. So, I mean, we got to start talking about this stuff. But a miracle run it's very, very, very unlikely. The team's too banged up, and the roster just has too many issues right now. And more than anything, this isn't super fair because the defensive structure hasn't been there the whole time. Without elite goaltending, this team doesn't work as currently constructed. There's not enough money in the offense at all. And even though the defensive structure, again, hasn't been there as much as it should be, injuries, if your goaltending is not elite, it's not going to work. That was a huge pillar of what was supposed to make this version of the team successful. If you're not getting it, you're not winning enough. It's just the way it's built. All that being said, pick some things to enjoy from the team. Like, that's what you got to do at this point. You root for some wins, see if we can get back in the race. Or, I'm not saying you're rooting for losses, but like, you're more aloof about them. You don't care as much about that. The result. Pick a player or two that you want to see the Pasternak streak continue. Absolutely. You want to see Lohrei continue to take steps to grow. Awesome. Merkulov is very likely to get called up, I would say, at this point with another injury. That might be another guy that you just get to kind of root for. If they call up Brown, I'm go Bees. Go Bees! And now it's time to say thank you to the high-quality inspectors. I appreciate each and every one of you. There's over 100 of you at this point. And I love doing these thank yous at the end, but I think we're reaching such a volume that I have to rethink this strategy because you're all so incredible and so supportive. But this is getting really long, and there's got to be a better way, right? But let's start the thank yous, of course, with the top line tier. Dampen, Chris and Erica, Negev79, Trial Exotic, Jeff McGugan, Quackin' Platypus, Andrew Peterson, Sean Kreider, JM, Zenon Noel DeGuy, Donald Shelton, Kevin Timperley, Anakin Palpatine, The Rat 63, Lola Cattingsworth, EKM Productions, Moonlighter TV, Big Bad Bruin, The Bugman, Adam Ella, Jeff with a G, Tommy Braga, Roland 22, GD Viperworks, Len Cruz, Brock Nope, Michael Kemmerer, Han Slomo, Coach D, The Atomic Lizard, Bradley Johnson, Brett Arney, Pincent, and Nick Zatrullo. Thank you so much, each and every one of you. You're absolute legends of this channel, and you're very appreciated. And now, of course, to our all-star tier members. Lorenzo Wood, Jake Brower, Penny Pasta, Levi Catalani, Boston Stringler, Bagel, JG's 12, Mark S., Jacob Pratt, Nightmare Eco, John Kirk, Ann Hustis, Joel, Heil E. Coyote, Darren Woodbury, Abraxion, Michael DePaulo, Wolf Warrior, Vinny, Adrian Winter, Tupton D. Tashi, Bruin Smash, DeKingery, The Only Newts, A Tasty Snack, Doots42, and Jeremy. Absolute stallions, every single one. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for being a part of the channel. I cannot express my gratitude. Go Bees.